And today we are going to talk about chapters 12 to 14 in Stand Up Yumi Chung by Jessica Kim. So let's just dive right into these 3 chapters. So we start with, in chapter 11, Yumi dodged a bullet when Felipe and Ginny met, right? And so do you think that they will figure out that K/Yumi is actually lying to them? And do you think that when they do figure out, do you think that that Yumi's relationship between Felipe and Sienna is gonna crumble and break? What do you think? And do you think that they will ever find out? And if so, when? Jasmine explains that you can make comedy out of anything, right? You can make comedy out of everything. And sometimes you have to tell secrets if you want to become a really good comedian. Do you think that Yumi will be comfortable telling secrets? Do you think you'll be comfortable telling these secrets? So Yumi decides that she's gonna write down some of her secrets. Of course, they're not awesome. They're all, after she reads all of that, she says, "I look over what I've written and my eyes burn at the sight of my deepest, darkest secrets listed out on the page. It's official. I'm the biggest loser in Koreatown," unquote. And so, do you think that by the end of this book, Yumi will be able to overcome all of these types of problems? Do you think that she'll be able to go to Pam's, and that will mean that a few of her problems would really dissipate? And finally, do you think that Yumi, she's sticking to the only failure is not trying. She's sticking to that motto. Do you think that in the end, everything's gonna work out, and everything's gonna work out because of that motto, or do you think that things are only going to get worse? So, how do you think that Jasmine Jasper will react if she learns that Yumi was lying to her? Do you think that she's gonna be cool about it, or do you think that she's gonna be really angry about it? And do you think that Yumi, if that ever happens, do you think that she'll be able to face her and her friends again? So do you think that, and then right then at that moment, Yumi decides to make Operation Show My Case. And okay, I'm gonna talk about that a bit. And so, do you think that it's going to work or not? It's definitely not gonna work. I just don't think that it's gonna work because, first, it will work, but soon Yumi's just telling more and more lies, and I think that her parents will be like, no, even if she does all of that. I mean, I do think that by the end of the book, something good will happen. I hope so, but still, I do think that this plan is not going to work. There's just too many lies involved, and so, and also it's just, you have to really hope a lot, and it might not work, right? Like, for example, her parents might be really angry, and they might not appreciate it. They might still say, "Hey, Winston is still a very prestigious school. You have to go. Besides, you passed the test, right? Winston is free too." Um, so yeah, I don't think that is going to work. But do you think at the end of this book, something good is still going to happen, or do you think like nothing good is going to happen at all? And what about Yuri? So Yumi was trying to call Yuri, but she wasn't responding. Do you think that Yuri will ever reconnect with Yumi and their parents, or do you think that she's just gonna be like that, going to exotic places and just sort of ignoring everybody else and following her dreams? And do you think that's going to be how it's going to end, or do you think that Yuri will eventually reconnect? And finally, well, not finally, but do you think that their parents are ever going to accept this fact? And if they accept that fact about Yuri, do you think that they'll also accept the fact about Yumi, that she likes comedy and she should go to places like Pam's? What do you think? Okay, chapter 13. So, do you think that Yumi will be able to go to the nursing home to crack some jokes, or do you think that her parents are not going to allow it? And so, and then they go into the comic book store. I'm not really going to talk a lot about this part. It's pretty cool if you're like a comic book geek, but I am not a comic book geek. In fact, I don't really like graphic novels. I mean, I just don't like them much. I don't know why. They just make my head hurt, and they're not really fun. And comic books are just, I don't really like them. I like to have detail, and I like detail, and I want to get into a person's thoughts. Those are the things I really like. So, yeah. And just then, and again, Yumi barely dodges a bullet, right? And do you think that Yumi is going to be able to keep this act up, or do you think that she's just gonna soon? Or do you think that she's soon going to or do you think she's soon going to let the cat out of the bag and spill the beans? Because currently, Yumi has had these close calls, and so I think that at one point she is going to crack, and everybody is going to figure it out. But until then, yes, I think that she will be able to keep the act up. So, Yumi's mom is sort of suspicious, right? But once Yumi begins to spell lies about, Mrs. Pack, and how Felipe and Sienna are already studying trigonometry, and how they are actually tutors. Did you think that mom was going to buy it, or did you think that mom was going to be like, "Are you crazy?" Well, if you had been Yumi's mom, what would you have been thinking? I would be totally suspicious, and I would immediately ask Mrs. Pack. If you had been Yumi, do you think you would have spun those lies, or do you think you would have just come clean with the truth? Well, no, I would not have come clean with the truth. I also wouldn't have lied that much. I would just be like, oh, those kids, I just met up with them. They're pretty nice. They're really nice. And I think they're going to become my friends. And, because, and I'll be like, I don't have a lot of friends, so having friends is really good. Can I go with them to this nursing home? I mean, that's good enough. I mean, I'm pretty sure that her mother's going to be like, her mother probably wants her daughter to have a social life. So yeah, besides, having good social skills is really important for college admissions. Why? Because you have to have good teamwork skills and communication skills if you want to work as a group, either in either in school or at work. And also, if you have good communication skills, at group projects, you're probably going to excel, and all of those types of things. So it's really helpful if you have good communication skills on a college resume. If you're submitting an essay to a college or whatever. to college application form too. Do you think? But yes. Do you think that Yumi will do good at the showcase? That's what I want to ask that, because Yumi is all depending on the showcase. But do you think that showcase is actually going to go well or not? Okay, now for the last chapter, chapter 14. So then on the next day, Yumi joins her friends to go to the nursing home. How do you think that Yumi will perform, right? This is her first time in front of an actual audience, made out of senior citizens, of course, but still an actual audience. And of course, it isn't enormous, but it's still her first audience. And she sort of has shy girl problems, right? And so do you think that she'll be able to do this, or do you think that she'll falter? I think that she'll be able to do this. I mean, there's not like a lot of people there, and she's already had a lot of practice, and she was already good from the start. So yeah, Yumi and everybody else is feeling very nervous, right? Do you think that by the end they won't feel very nervous, or do you think they still will? I mean, my point was, when they were on the stage, do you think they'll suddenly be free? Do you think that they will suddenly go over their nerves, and do you think that everything will become instinct, right? That's something I've read a lot. Like when I read a lot of books and essays, I always read it. At first, it's a bit hard. You always think about the next word. You're like, it's just good. But soon after, you're like, you just fall into instinct, because you've been practicing this for so long. You just be like, you're just going into instinct, right? Suddenly it's like muscle memory, which I actually learned is true. By the way, I didn't go biking for like years, about 3 years, and then suddenly I biked again. I was perfect. So yes, muscle memory is true. Onwards. Sorry, I think I did one. Yeah. Sorry, I thought that I was on the wrong page. So Yumi starts by talking about sort of her parents, and she was trying to be funny, right? But everybody interpreted it as like tiger parents, right? And abusive tiger parents, and that's really harsh. If you had been Yumi at that point, would you have been like, and would you have just recovered, or would you be like, I need to get out of here, or would you be like, how would you have reacted to this? And when she started her routine, did you think that everybody was gonna just burst out laughing, or were you already wincing and saying, she's gonna fail at this, she shouldn't say that? How were you? What were you? What did you really like about? What was your favorite part? My favorite part was definitely the second joke. It wasn't the best, but it was better than the first joke. That wasn't as funny, I guess. It wasn't very funny, but still, the one thing I didn't like was that, Yumi sort of made Sienna the butt of her joke. And then afterwards, Sienna is pretty angry about this. And so, I didn't really like it because, Sienna, I don't think that she feels that she has the coolest parents, right? And it just didn't paint a good image of her. And I don't think that if I had been Sienna, I would have liked it. If you had been Sienna, how would you have reacted? Would you have been really angry, or would you just be like, forget it? How would you have felt? I would just be like, forget it. But I would be mildly annoyed. Still, I would like the part about having coolest parents, but mostly I would be pretty annoyed. Do you think that with, right now, Yumi has even failed before she even completed her entire stand-up comedy session. Do you think that she'll be able to? Do you think she'll be ready for Pam's? And next time, it's not only about how you present yourself. You also have to have good jokes. Do you think that her jokes are going to be good or not? And finally, one thing and then this is one part I really want to focus on. So, Jasmine was talking about those Tutti Frutti Jelly Bellies. And, like there's a lot of them that you don't like, but there's like some of the really good ones. Can you, and that's sort of like comedians, right? Sometimes they just have to go for the good ones, even though there's a lot of bad ones. Can you think about another example, a real life example? Yeah, let's do authors. Most authors, and I've done this. So I read this amazing book by an author. I'm like, oh my God, I love this book. And I just I'm like, I need to read all of the other books that author has read, that author has written. All of the other books are either like big failures, or almost nobody has read them, or the reviews are terrible. That's the thing. Most authors, they only publish 1 to 2 really good books, if none at all. And so even the best of the best, like the ones who have won the Newbery Honor, some of their other books, they're terrible. Some authors, they just make amazing books. Like they always make amazing books. They always write amazing books. But other authors, most authors, just, write average books, and only a few of them actually break through. And so because of this, many authors, they publish a lot of books. Maybe they have to self-publish. Mostly, those books don't get off the ground. But if you're lucky, then you get off the ground on your first book, and then after that, it's really smooth start. But most people, they have to go through a lot of trouble. Anyway, let's keep going. Do you think that Jasmine's sort of inspirational speech? Do you think that this will inspire Yumi to go on? So, do you think that Yumi will be? And so, my last question is going to be will Operation Show My Case work? We're gonna have to find out next time with the next chapters. I hope that you enjoyed these 3 chapters in Stand Up Yumi Chung by Jessica Kim. Other books by Jessica Kim include Make a Move, Sunny Park, which I really enjoyed. And soon, in 2025, she's also going to publish the book On Thin Ice. Actually, yeah, that's not very soon, at least to me. That's in 2 years, but still, maybe you're watching this in 2025, then it's gonna be soon. Or maybe you're watching this in 2030, then it was 5 years ago. Whatever the case, check out those books. Jessica Kim's books are all pretty awesome. And so, I liked every one of them. I'll see you next time. A book that I do recommend that's sort of like Stand Up Yumi Chung, that really reminds me of Stand Up Yumi Chung, is going to be, okay, I don't remember the exact title, but I'll be back in 5 seconds. Front Desk by Kelly Yang. This is about a Chinese American girl. She's a Chinese girl who immigrated to America, and just like Yumi, she lives in Anaheim, and Yumi lives in Los Angeles. So they're really close together. Both of them are from immigrant families, and I love Front Desk. It's a really popular book. It's won the 2019 Children's Literature Award winner for the Asian Pacific American Librarians. Yeah, Asian Pacific Children's Literature Award, and it's really, really fun. I love this book. And then I was like, oh my God, I need to make a book club about it. So I did. You can check that out on my YouTube channel. And then I read the second book, 3 Keys. It was amazing. The third book, which was called Room to Dream, was stellar. It was like breathtaking. The fourth book, which was, wow, I am now forgetting titles left and right, is I can't forget it right now. Key Player, which I loved. It was one of the best. And then just now, on September 5th, Kelly Yang's 5th front desk book, Top Story, came out. I loved it. It was set in San Francisco. So you're really gonna enjoy this. Right here, so this is the main character is Mia, and so she really faces a lot of struggles that immigrants face, along with some racism. And so she makes new friends, she makes enemies, and she operates the front desk, and she has to fight a lot of bad people, like Mr. Yao, which you will soon find out. So I really recommend this book. And if you're enjoying reading stand-up Yumi Chung, definitely read the Front Desk series. They're amazing, and I'm currently considering making a book club about the rest of the Front Desk series. And if so, you're totally gonna have to check that out. Well, I hope that you enjoyed this video about stand-up Yumi Chung, and I'll see you next time for more on books and news, which I sometimes report. Bye.